Not in the way this is representative. We've seen so much money, haven't we, on our journey around the Islamic world. The Ottomans of Turkey, the Timurids of Samarkand. These were some of the richest rulers the world has had. But even the unimaginable wealth of the Ottomans or the Timurids would have seemed like small change to the most lavish of all the Islamic super dynasties, the Mughals of India.
The Mughals ruled India for 3 centuries. After the first of them, a minor Timurid princeling called Babur, managed to conquer Delhi in 1526 and found himself in possession of an enormous heap of riches.
Babur has left behind a coruscating diary in which he records his first impressions of India.
It's spectacularly rude.
The people are not handsome, he complained. They have no skill in architecture. No good horses, no good meat, no grapes or muskmelons, no good food or bread, no baths or colleges, no candles, no torches, not a candlestick. Yes, but they did have diamonds as big as chicken eggs. Gold, emeralds, rubies. And that was enough to persuade the Mughals to put up with the heat and the dust and the lack of muskmelons and to make India theirs. And the Mughal dissatisfaction with what they found here became an unexpectedly productive force. In the absence of an actual earthly paradise, they set about constructing one for themselves out of art and architecture.
The Taj Mahal is always said to be a monument to love. The tale is endlessly repeated of how Babur's heartbroken descendant, Shah Jahan, built the Taj as a tomb for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died giving birth to their 14th child.
You know that famous photo of Princess Diana sitting up here on her own with no Charles beside her, looking so lonely? What made it particularly poignant is this famous story that's told of Shah Jahan's momentous royal love for Mumtaz Mahal. Unfortunately, the latest thinking on the subject is that Shah Jahan actually built the Taj for himself as his mausoleum. It's a much less romantic tale, but much more likely. When you come here to Agra and witness this sort of splendour, the Mughals displaying their inordinate wealth, there's a tendency to see it as nothing more meaningful than the scattering of rupees. Very tasteful, but still loads of money sort of behaviour. But underpinning the Mughals' spending lust was a set of specific Islamic ambitions that aren't commented upon enough or noticed enough.
Professor Khalidi, you very kindly brought out a few of your possessions. This is only a tiny smattering of what you have in your collection.
Can I just make a small correction before I go further? You called these objects on the table my possession. Nothing belongs to anybody. At the end of the day, everything is created by Almighty and it belongs to Him.
Well, I would very much like to be the temporary custodian of this.
There is a beautiful story about this box. It's made out of 93 flawless emeralds.
Yeah, the Indian emeralds.
Called Indian emeralds.
Indian emeralds,
Called
yes.
Indian emeralds. So that's extremely, extremely rare and probably belonged to Shah Jahan. It's of his period. So they didn't make this sort of thing just for anybody. So it's probably a royal piece.
So the creator of the Taj Mahal
Yes.
cared about everything that he created. He must have been one of the greatest patrons there's ever been anywhere.
No, there were a few. I mean, he was definitely one of the greatest patrons in India.
This would have been used as a little jewel box, would it? Or?
Probably a box to put jewelry or stones or emeralds, but it was definitely a part of the court belonging.
The Quran is many things, an instruction book, a history, a guide to life, but it's also an architectural manual. Anyone who reads it properly, which architectural historians seem bafflingly unwilling to do, must be struck by the similarities between the descriptions of paradise given in the Quran and the gorgeous worlds constructed for themselves by the Mughals.
Surah 55 details the pleasures of paradise.
There will be 2 gardens, dark green in colour from plentiful watering. In them will be springs pouring forth water in continuous abundance, and fruits and dates and pomegranates. They will recline on carpets whose inner linings will be of rich brocade, like rubies and coral. Then which of the favours of your Lord will ye deny? The gorgeous world of the Mughals isn't just a display of spending. It's never godless or merely greedy. Fountain for fountain, palace for palace, garden for garden, all of it is an attempt to imagine the Islamic paradise and an effort to fulfill the Islamic obligation to build that paradise on earth. You must have noticed that you never see ugliness in Islamic art, or neurosis, or personal problems, or any of that dark stuff that so obsesses Western artists. Islamic art always tries to look as beautiful as it can. Why? Because it recognizes that the problems of the artist are just storms in a teacup, utterly irrelevant in the wider scheme of things. In the end, all that matters is the beauty of God, and the artist's task is always to reflect that beauty. To do otherwise, to fret about yourself, to go all dark and miserable in your art, is to waste your artistic time.